welcome to the Rack at Rutgers University, where tonight the Scarlet Knights host the Pirates of Seton Hall, their second meeting of the season. Good evening, everyone. Don Quickie with Jim Spinarco. Both these teams have kind of lost their way in the last month. The winner tonight could be back on track. They played 3 weeks ago. Seton Hall was a pretty dominant 16-point winner, and Kelly Whitney was the difference, Jim.
And he's usually a force, Don, when he's playing down low and when he's getting his touches. And one of the things about that first game, he went to the free throw line for 13 attempts. He made 11 of them. When you consider that Rutgers only shot the ball 17 times from a free throw line, you know what kind of impact he had. So expect him to get his touches early.
One of the Rutgers problems has been the back line shooting. Normally their target shooters like Quincy Douby and Ricky Shields are right on, but they've been off mark and they've got to start hitting.
That they do, and they usually shoot the ball from long range. I think tonight, if I were Gary Waters, the coach of Rutgers, I'd change it up a little bit. I would tell both Shields and Douby to go to the basket a little bit at the beginning of this game, see the ball go through the hoop from short range. Then if you have outside shots, those are shots you guys can make. Take them in the rhythm.
So it is the Seton Hall Pirates and the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers coming up. We'll have the opening lineups and the tip-off after this. And we're back at the Rack here on the campus of the State University of New Jersey as we look now at the starting lineups. Seton Hall goes with Morris, the freshman, Sarasoli, Whitney, who had 19 and 7 in the last game against Rutgers, Allen and Bill Myers. They go big with Bill Myers starting at center. Webb, Quezada, a freshman, making his first start. Wiggin, Bailey, and Joins. And one of the problems Rutgers has had also, Jim, is they really lack the low post presence they had last year with Lamazan and Sean Axani, who graduated.
Absolutely. And one of the things you notice with that lineup is that you don't see Shields and you don't see Douby in the lineup. So clearly Gary Waters is trying to take the edge off with those two. I think what he's trying to do is just relax them a little bit, put them in off the bench, and make things happen when you come in.
There is Louis Orr. He was pretty critical of his team after their loss last Saturday. And he really has had some tough practices. Now in his 4th season as the head coach, his counterpart is Gary Waters. Waters also in his 4th year as the head man here at Rutgers. He signed a contract extension in the offseason through 2010 after he led Rutgers to its first 20-win season in 20 years last season. They went to the NIT Finals. And of course, Seton Hall went to the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. Returned 4 starters, but the one who wasn't returning was the graduating senior Andre Barrett, who was just a great point guard for 4 years.
Absolutely, and a guy who really controlled the flow both at the defensive end and at the offensive end for Seton Hall. So it'll be interesting to see just how long Rutgers goes right now, to see what kind of rhythm they get at the beginning of this basketball game with the different starting lineup on the floor for them.
You see Rutgers with 6 losses on their home floor. That is very rare for the Scarlet Knights. Last year they were 16 and 2 at home. This year they're 5 and 6 on this floor. And the Scarlet Knights start with the ball.
Straight up man-to-man to start things off for Seton Hall. And it'll take a little bit for Rutgers to get this lineup going in the right direction, I believe, Don. It's just the comfort level. They have to really find one another and see who's going to do the outside scoring.
First try of the game. Witt rolls off the hand of Marcus Webb. And here come the Pirates of Seton Hall. Seton Hall doesn't score a lot, but they don't give up a lot of points, and they're usually in a very close game.
Well, and they'll get the efforts. Obviously, as we touched on in the open, they'll try to get Kelly Whitney involved. There he is cutting across, a little square-up move.
And the ball is stolen from him. Wiggin takes it away. A 3-on-2 break. Lead to Quezada, stolen right back. Nicely done by J.R. Morris.
Good job, Morris, anticipating that bounce pass, but Rutgers reacted to the turnover quickly, at least got back.
Sarasoli trying to drive. He can't get by the first-time starter, Manny Quezada. Here's Sarasoli, the freshman from Chicago, with a lead to Whitney. Sets him up for an open 15-footer that missed it all.
We touched on Whitney getting down on the blocks. The Rack fans here, the students in particular, letting him hear about it, but that's exactly where Rutgers wants him shooting the ball, 17 feet away or thereabouts.
As mentioned, he had 19 points in the win on January 22nd over Rutgers. Whitney is the leading point scorer and rebounder for Seton Hall.
Not many looks to the post right now.
Now Rutgers goes from the arc, and Joel Wiggin One of the team's co-captains, a senior, drills a three, and Rutgers takes the lead.
Wigan has actually been giving Gary Waters consistent minutes, consistent playing time throughout the last couple of weeks for Rutgers, so getting rewarded with a little playing time in the starting level tonight.
Morris down low to Bill Meyer, and the big guy gets the roll, and it drops down, and we have a 3-2 game, Rutgers.
Good little square up, but once again, Rutgers has the big guys for Seton Hall pushing themselves out on the floor a little. Bill Meyer that time taking a little 15-footer from the side there on the baseline. So good execution off the dribble to free the big guy for that jumper.
Rutgers coming in with a 7-12 record overall. They are 1-8 in the Big East play. Seton Hall 10-9 overall. The Pirates are 2-6 Big East play. Offensive rebound turns over to side court to Joel Wiggin.
Quesada going long range that time. I mean, he was a couple of strides back on that three-point shot. That was Ricky Shields' territory.
Yeah, they got guys who can drill it from way out, but they just haven't been able to drill them with consistency from the three-point arc, which was a staple of last year's 20-win team.
And not only that, when Rutgers gets the shots to go down from long range, that's where you really feel the impact of the rack.
Hard drive to the basket. And the freshman Manny Quesada from St. Albans in Washington, D.C., where he was the D.C. Player of the Year a season ago. Getting his first start, he drives to the basket and gets a 5-2 lead for Rutgers.
And he gets the fans involved early on also.
Morris drives. Pull up no good, and a whistle blows as there's a foul on the rebound. The officials tonight, Tim Higgins, Tom Lopes, and Les Jones.
We'll take a look now. The reach in, Sarasoli misses everybody. Where's the step in, though? A lot of guys looking to block the shot of Quesada, a shorter guy coming through as he's making his first career start, and made his first real career start going right towards the basket rather than shooting the ball from long range the previous time down the court. So good results for Gary Waters.
Jim, one of the problems like a lot of teams that are struggling is shot selection. They get too anxious.
And I think that, Don, that's been a problem for Rutgers. You know, they've played some tough games to give them their due. Over the last 10, they've lost to 9, but they've had some close games in there. Shots at the end of Syracuse and St. John's, games that they could have won. But you're right, the shot selection not the greatest.
Ollie Bailey goes hard, a freshman from Chicago. And a whistle blows, and Tom Lopes signals a foul against Seton Hall.
It'll be Whitney kind of riding him out with the back just a little bit. Difficult call. It's a tough one for the officials to make because the ball is up for grabs. A lot of bodies going after it. You see it. And here's Whitney. Whitney really had his back turned. But the fact that Joins went to the floor, and you see the guys tugging and pulling a little bit.
Gary Waters, the coach of Rutgers, he had individual meetings with each of his players on Sunday, stressing the positives, trying to get these guys back on track. Rutgers, a young team starting one freshman, 3 sophomores, and a senior. And they just really haven't come back, Jim, from that loss to Syracuse. They had Syracuse down by 21. A final shot by Douby from the corner, a three-pointer, went in and out, and they lost the game, and they really haven't bounced back.
No, absolutely, Don. And that basketball, as Seton Hall goes to his zone right now, was in and out twice, and then drifted away from the rim. It had to be demoralizing for them.
There's a long ball. Stroked beautifully by Manny Quesada. So Manny making the most of his first start.
2 for 9 coming into the game, shooting threes also. Put up the long one at first and then drilled that second one. So he looks very comfortable on the floor at both ends.
And now Copeland playing the point for Seton Hall. And Jamar Nutter also in the back line with him. They feed the post. They double Whitney.
Yep, the guards are looking for him.
He goes to the rack anyway. Well done by Kelly Whitney, the junior from Chicago.
Patience was the key on that move right there, because as you touched on just then, Don, 2 guards came in to try to double team on separate trips as their guys were cutting through the lane. Whitney just waited and let them both clear and then made his one-on-one move to the baseline.
Quesada feeds out. Rutgers looking to free up the shooter from the arc. Not a whole lot of action down low for the Scarlet Knights. Turnaround shot, and a rebound is taken down by Allen. The senior forward averaging over 11 points a game. Off-balance shot. It's a thing of beauty, though, at the end result, and it's now an 8-6 game Rutgers.
The guy who can get it going. He's streaky, John Allen. The guy who really has to give them a good lift. for Seton Hall.
This is always a special event, the two meetings they have, the two New Jersey Big East teams. And this is going to be a game where a personal foul is going to come into play, and the free throw line might decide this game. They play a hard brand of basketball when they hook up.
And next time out, we'll see Shields and Douby are going to check in.
And now we have a timeout on the floor. Rutgers has lost 5 straight games. And now we're going to take a look at perhaps the most devastating of those defeats. We're back and ready to go. It is an 8-6 game Rutgers. As we look back to the flashback of that devastating loss, this was against Syracuse. Here's Douby from the corner for the win, in and out. And Syracuse, coming from 21 points down, comes back to win the game. A heartbreaker that the Scarlet Knights have had a hard time rebounding from, and who wouldn't?
You know, you take a look at some of these close games, and it's unbelievable. You know, starting really with Penn State, but Pitt, they had that game situation. Ron Ramon had a long shot for 3 to tie that score up. Had some opportunities. Syracuse, that we just showed, a difficult game, and did the St. John's game. Ball was in and out for Douby. So they've had a rocky road. They've been competitive, but just can't seal and close games. As Hall throws the ball out of bounds, it's going to go the other way.
2-point lead for Rutgers. They've led by as many as 6. Louis Orr, the coach of Seton Hall, was pretty openly critical of his Pirates after a 60-52 loss to Boston College last Saturday. Orr actually questioned Hall's willingness to make tough plays, and senior John Allen thought it was a little heavy on the criticism.
Well, another team, like, I listened to part of that game on the radio, and just could not come up with the big stops and big scores down the stretch with 5 minutes left because it was a close basketball game.
Here's Jamar Nutter as Seton Hall comes down quickly, looking to tie or go ahead, which they do if they hit a 3. Sweet. Good move. Can't get it to go. And here come the Scarlet Knights.
Douby and Shields both in the backcourt right now. Resuming and assuming their spots in the backcourt. Let's see if they get some rhythm going.
Douby gets the look and drills. Last year as a freshman, he hit 43% of his three-point tries. This year in Big East play, he's down around 28% three-point tries. So he's been way down from last year's production.
33% on the season, but that's a relaxed shot right there. Maybe Gary Waters has taken some of the pressure off him by not starting him this game along with Shields.
Now a foul called inside.
Here's a guy, Douby, Don, who's been struggling, because we touched on, with shooting the ball right there. That looked like the Douby of old, right? With a little smooth flow, confidence, little run back. He looks more confident in his body.
Foul was on Webb. Well, Douby was the #1 freshman scorer in the conference last year. He averaged 12.5 games for the Scarlet Knights. As we see John Allen, the senior, take a seat. Both teams are going to their bench early. Lang's in the game now for Seton Hall. Here's Donald Copeland dishing it out to Whitney. Good hands by the Rutgers defenders, but Copeland gets the ball back.
Good look by Whitney to sweep, just a touch late.
Got the sky hook coming from a guy 5'10".
Copeland find a way to get it up there, Kareem. Looks like Joines pushing around with Whitney down low. It's going to go the other way. And Timmy Higgins with the call, the correct call.
Rutgers really missing Lamazana and Sean Axani. They're still trying to find a low post presence on the offensive end. 12 left to go in the first half. Brian Lang working on the outside. And again, they pound it down to Whitney. Here's Jamar Nutter. And he is called for an extra step as he tries to spin off of the baseline. And with 11:57 to play in the first half, Rutgers holds an 11-6 lead on Seton Hall. This is Don Cricky with Jim Spanarco back at the rack on the campus of Rutgers. A great place to see a basketball game. This is one of the really great buildings.
It really is, and especially when Rutgers is lighting it up from three-point range. Casada that trip, shooting from long range, and here's a big one too. Douby not starting in this basketball game, coming off the bench for Gary Waters, the coach of Rutgers, getting him in the lineup, very comfortable out there shooting the ball for his first trip. And when you look at the last 3 games, Don, it's been horrible as a a nice word for Rutgers, shooting the basketball at 18%, just can't get it to go.
Now the long ball as the ball is kicked out nicely by Dan Waterstrat, who just came on the floor, a freshman from the Detroit area. And we're stuck at 11-6. Rutgers in the lead. Scarlet Knights with that 3 of 6 three-point shooting. That's been the difference. Now Wiggin gets an errant pass. Long lead down court. Douby puts it up. Nicely done by the Knights. The steal, the lead, the bucket, and a 7-point lead.
And a beautiful lob pass there. It was meant to die in the air for him to be able to run out. And did you notice, Don, that Douby stopped his body but extended his hand out to the basket so to prevent the defender from getting him. That's a step by Timmy Higgins. Good call again. Going to go the other way.
Whitney, who had 19 points in the first game, trying to get to the basket. That's the 5th turnover now by Seton Hall.
You see the way this ball dies, and he sticks the hand out a little bit to extend it past Nutter. Good delivery. Both ends on the pass and the basket on the layup by Douby.
Among the luminaries here is the acting governor of New Jersey, Richard Cody. The governor's not rooting for a tie. He's a lifelong Seton Hall fan. I think he goes to every home game.
And he's a lifelong basketball junkie, and I say that in a positive sense. He just loves his basketball, as a lot of us do, but he really loves the game.
Waterstrat can't get his shot to go, but a good follow-up down low. Bailey with his first bucket of the game, and the Scarlet Knights with their biggest lead, a 9-point advantage. Now let's take a look at the Aeropostale Big East Championship flashback.
In the quarterfinals of the 1998 Big East Championship, Rutgers needed a last-second leaner from point guard Jeff Billett to defeat Georgetown 61-60 and advance to the semifinals. This Big East Championship flashback has been brought to you by Aeropostale, providing scholarships through sponsorships.
And both these teams, every team in the conference, looking to get on a run down the stretch run of the regular season, getting ready for the Big East Championship coming up in March at Madison Square Garden. Rutgers is last in the Big East in field goal defense this year, and Seton Hall is last in field goal percentage offense. So something's got to give as Sarah Soli's back in the game, drives to the basket, and as a player control foul, it's going to be on Sarah Soli, a charge.
Bailey stepped right in there. A big guy just waited for Sarah Soli to come through the middle of the lane, took the charge, took a shot right to his chest. And Rutgers looks like a team, we've said before, in some of their games, look like a confident bunch of guys down on that floor right now. Seton Hall still trying to find themselves at the offensive end. Good cut.
Down low to Waterstrat. And there's a foul call down low. It'll stay at this end.
Yeah,
going to go into Pirates.
Bailey was trying to get his body through a couple of Pirates down low to get to the ball.
Dan Waterstrat, he's going to be a very good player down the line, a freshman at 6'11". He weighs 220. I talked to him before the game. He said he can't hold weight. He said, tell me in 20 years if that's still a problem.
We'd love to have that problem, huh?
Said he's 6'11". He said the hair makes him about 7'2". And he also said, this kid's a pretty clever kid. I said, what about your three-point shooters? He said, they're kind of like drummers in bands or left-handers. You never know what's going on with the three.
There you go.
Billmeyer. Jump hook. Shields rebounds. Douby controls the break. Kicks it outside. Beautifully executed. They can't get it down, but the offensive rebound comes down to the Knights, and then it's an errant pass that they really should have caught, I think.
Ricky Shields is a guy who's trying to track down a three-point shooting record for Rutgers with Jeff Billett on. And one of the things about it is that I think he's pressing a little bit to try to get that record, because that one was probably the best shot I've seen him take in the couple of 3 games that I've worked over the last 10 days or so for Rutgers.
Allen gets the kick-out pass. Rebound down to Billmeyer, outworking people. The biggest of the Pirates at 6'10", 260, puts it back up. And it's a 7-point Rutgers lead.
Well, Pirates needed to see the basketball go through the hoop. They're struggling. Some of their shots coming from the outside. I think they have to continue to look to drive it towards the basket, because there really aren't shot blockers for either of these two basketball teams. Only
10 shots in the game so far for Seton Hall. They've hit 4. Ollie Bailey, a big, strong freshman down low, and again the ball turns over, but a whistle stops play, and Morris coming close to getting teed up. Bounced it a little high.
Yeah, he did. I mean, you have a seasoned officiating crew here with Tommy Lopes, Timmy Higgins, Les Jones. I mean, and Timmy Higgins was standing right there when he slammed the ball down. And these guys know the game, Don, and that wasn't a reflection of the call. He stepped out of bounds. That was frustration. Slammed the ball down. Big deal. They let it go. I think that's the right no call.
And there's been not many right shots for Seton Hall of late as a three is drilled. Marquise Webb strikes. The Hall hasn't scored a field goal in almost 5 minutes, and they're down by 10 to a team they beat by 16 3 weeks ago.
Webb shooting about 24% on the season. When he gets one to go down, it's a big lift for everybody involved.
Particularly Marquise Webb.
Absolutely.
Ball last touch by a Rutgers defender. It comes back inbounds to the Hall, who both have tough scheduling coming up. Next for the Rutgers, they've got to go to Providence, then to Boston College.
Providence has to get off the slide sooner or later, don't you think? 0-8 right now. Good luck.
Now one in the conference, where they beat Virginia last Wednesday night by 19.
Virginia team that's been struggling with Pete Gillen in the ACC this year.
Not too worried, though. Pete signed a very long-term contract. I think he's got about 8 more years to go. There's a blocking foul.
It goes in cycles. Virginia's going through one of those cycles right now, but Pete Gillen will pull it back together again. And Bill Meyer down low again, getting there a little bit on the late side. He'll pick up his first.
Following this game, Seton Hall will be hooking up with St. John's at home, then Villanova at home before going to West Virginia. And this is the first free throw of the game by either team.
You mentioned St. John's coming up for them this Saturday night. St. John's with Norm Roberts in this league. 2-7 right now is their record in the league, but they've played hard. They're on demand right now, but he's got them playing hard. They challenge, they go after people. So Louis Orr is not looking ahead to St. John's yet, but when he does, he knows he's going to have a competitive game on his hands.
Now, Jim Calhoun, the coach of Connecticut, says nobody in our conference plays harder than St. John's. Maybe too hard, because it's not a deep team, and they kind of wear down late in the game. As now, Rutgers has extended to a 12-point lead, and Seton Hall, hurrying down court, turns the ball over. As you see, the senior, John Allen, telling his younger players to settle down.
There's Sarasoli, who stepped on the line, going down on the left side of the floor, so he'll take a couple-minute break.
The hard facts are in college basketball, when one team builds a 15-point lead, usually they're going to win the game. Seton Hall has to start shooting better, and even getting shots has been a problem for them with the turnovers. Down by 12. Copeland kicks it out. Bill Meyer, they'll let him take a three.
Pretty good defense overall, though, by the Rack.
Very good defense. Rutgers packing it in. They're denying down low.
It's absolutely it. We've seen the bigger guys have to step away. That's a good indicator that they're really playing tough interior defense when your big guys are taking 8-footers and 12-footers.
The foul was on Morris, his second of the game, and Rutgers leads by 12. Back at the Rack, Seton Hall and Rutgers. And now let's take a look at check of the Hyundai Cool Facts. 7:42 to play in the first half. They're the Big East teams, Jim, in the top 25.
And obviously Boston College 20-0 for the season, coming off that win against Seton Hall, Syracuse, Connecticut. And take a look who's joining this league next year. Louisville, Cincinnati, ranked 9 and 20 respectively. So the conference gets better and better. For next year, it's going to be quite a conference.
You're going to have to be really good just to get in the Big East Championship in March. Only 12 teams are still going to go, even with the addition of the 5 new. Here is Jamar Nutter coming down the floor, puts on a burst of speed, but can't get by.
Look up and you still see single digits on the scoreboard for Seton Hall at 8 points. So terrific defense so far.
Nutter launches. The Hall needed that badly, and they hit the 3. They're first of the game and get it down to 9. That had to be a really tough shot, a spin move off the dribble to get it away.
So once again, Rutgers, even though the shot went in, has to be somewhat satisfied with their defensive effort, forcing it away from the goal.
No question. They're defending well. They go inside out, set up the three-point shot. Rebound to Nutter. He is a sophomore from Bloomfield, New Jersey, who played at Seton Hall Prep, Jamar Nutter.
Here's the touch with Whitney down low.
They've scouted Whitney. They know which way he's going. Here's another steal. Marquise Webb drives and takes it down. And Rutgers builds its lead. It's back to 11.
And you're right about which way he was going just then, because Quesada read that play perfectly. He was the one from the strong side who flicked at the ball and released it for them to cause that turnover to go the other way. So good defensive effort on the post, double teaming.
Donald Copeland. No place to go. Good look down low to Kelly Whitney. Beautifully assisted by Copeland. And the Hall hits and goes down now by 9, as that's the second bucket of the night for Kelly Whitney.
And a good weak side screen for Whitney, too. Coming across down below, but he caught the ball and instinctively turned and shot it. Here's a good strip. Allen going the other way.
John Allen, the senior, steals the ball, breaks away. Seton Hall right back in the game now, down by 7 with 5:33 to play in the half.
On both ends, when the careless play takes over, the other team has been able to capitalize on the turnovers.
Seton Hall coming back nicely. The Pirates going about 5 minutes without a field goal. Now starting to get some open shots.
Well, it breeds the question of Gary Waters making his decisions with Shields and Douby. How long does he go without either one of them on the floor?
He has 2 sharpshooters are out. Here's a nice stroke. Knocked down. Byron Joins, a sophomore from Baltimore, an Oak Hill Academy. Guy who lost 40 pounds in the offseason. Down to 265, a manageable 265.
Wouldn't mind losing a couple pounds myself.
That's a lot, 40. When you get so heavy that your picture falls off the wall, you start to take it up. Look at this, Jamar Nutter doing some things. That's what happens in the NFL. No,
the pictures start falling off the wall.
The pictures start falling off the wall. They got to go on a diet. You're then on the critical list of Slenderella. Here is a long ball down, and here is Allen driving to the basket, and a foul is called.
Before that, though, Don, Tommy Lopes came in, called the walk almost at half court. Good call by the trail official Tommy Lopes just then. We're going to wave that one off.
So 4:26 to play. A congratulatory pat from his coach for Jamar Nutter, who's played some very good basketball. This 6'2 sophomore sat out last season. He's ignited the Pirates to get back in this game down by 7. Here is a long ball, rims out. Rebound to Lang. Brian Lang, a freshman, takes it down.
Got to believe that Gary Waters has told Ricky Shields to continue to shoot good shots, and those are shots that he can make.
My kind of rebound when you don't have to leave the floor to get it.
That's it.
Not many of those out there.
No, take them all you can.
Allen, they keep looking down to that big post man.
Yeah, it's wide open. You have to give it to him. There you go.
Whitney has the ball stripped by Joins, knocked away by Bill Meyer. Here's a 3-on-1 break. Off to Shields, behind the back.
Not a good decision.
Oh, and here comes Kelly Whitney showing some ball handling ability. Copeland out to Lang, a 2-point attempt. Knocks it down, and the Hall is rallying back, down by 5. They've been down by 12. They trailed 20-8 at one point.
Pretty good effort over the last 3 or 4 minutes as Gary Waters wants to talk things over. Not a great decision. They had a 3-on-2 break going the other way. He wants to settle his troops down. Shields going behind the back. Not a good decision right there. And Seton Hall answers over the last 3.5 minutes with their best basketball of the half.
It is Big East Hoops from ESPN Plus again next Saturday at noon Eastern. Next Saturday at noon Eastern time from ESPN Plus. Who's a true Rutgers fan, and there are many here. A lot of red, a lot of scarlet. Seton Hall field goal shooting gotten hotter.
Absolutely coming back. And you take a look at the standings right now with BC and Syracuse, Connecticut. the three heavyweights right there. I'll tell you, I saw Georgetown against this Rutgers team with that win. I'm very impressed with John Thompson III with the way he has his team executing. And these two teams here really fighting down at the bottom just to keep pace with a couple ahead of them.
But there's a lot of basketball to be played, and now's the time to get hot. Webb gets it out. Seton Hall has really come out and picked up the defense. Those three-point looks haven't been there in a long time now for Rutgers after they hit a couple early. Hit 3 early, 3 of 6. Now they get one. Rims out. Whitney rebounds. Looks for his point guard, and the sure-handed Donald Copeland sets the offense. He's ready to launch.
Here's Whitney. Whitney's open. I think Allen.
They can get it to him anytime.
Anytime. Just pitch it right in there away from the defender's hands. Joins just giving him that look.
Post is hungry. Feed the post. There it is.
Then they haven't stepped out about 2 more feet. Becomes a more difficult shot when you're drifting and have to put the ball on the floor instead of just turning and catching like we saw him do about 5 minutes ago.
And Rutgers holding to the 5-point lead. Here's Douby driving, pulling up to Bailey. Rebound by Bailey, puts his own miss up, and then a defensive board is finally scored by John Allen.
That's when Rutgers is most effective, though, Don, when they start putting the ball on the floor going towards the hoop.
Another nice assist by Copeland. A 10-2 Seton Hall run has the Pirates down from 12 back to within 3.
And a pretty good example of the work of Whitney just then in the big guy's life. When you shoot the basketball in stride and you don't have to dribble it, it's an easy catch and shoot. Much easier than having to put it down one time against a defender in traffic and making your shot.
There's not been a lot of easy shots. Here is Shields with a good move off the baseline. Ricky Shields, the senior, a co-captain, and it's a 5-point Rutgers lead.
And as a senior, you'd like to see Ricky Shields get on track for his own career, for the Rutgers fans, because he's had a terrific career here. He's just been really struggling now in the last, 4 weeks or so.
He averages almost 14 points a game, and now as the freshman Brian Lang shoots, he is fouled. And Lang will go to the free throw line with 1:05 to play in the half.
Number 2, Ricky Shields.
And as we go to break, we'll take a look at Kelly Whitney getting assist from Donald Copeland, who's been setting the table tonight. He hits it. Don Criqui with Jim Spinarco back at the rack at Rutgers, where the Scarlet Knights lead the Pirates by 5. Notre Dame holding to an 11-point lead over undefeated Boston College. The BC Eagles going to that game with a 20-0 record. Best start by any team in Big East history. Pittsburgh with a 1-point lead over St. John's. They've now gone to the second half. And at halftime, we'll take a look at some of the best players in the conference. Players of the week, Freshman of the week, Big East scores, stats, and highlights. As right now, Seton Hall's going to the free throw line. The Pirates have trailed by as many as 12 in this game. They were down 20-8. They rallied back, got it to within 3. Now it's 5, but able to cut into the lead if they hit the free throws, and they do not on the first drive.
And it's interesting with that Notre Dame and Boston College game. Sometimes that undefeated record could be a distraction for you in a negative sort of way, because you start to guess, well, maybe tonight's the night we're not going to keep winning. Somebody's bound to get us. You start thinking little negative thoughts, and maybe tonight is the night that Notre Dame pulls it off with the upset.
I asked Tim Higgins, who sees games all over the country, who's the best team he's seen. He said when he saw the game he worked, he said he'd have to say Illinois. He saw him last week against Michigan State.
To be going out on a limb right there, huh? Picking the best team in the country. I think it's number 1.
I tell you, a team to watch. I think Connecticut could really make a move.
And a jump ball down low. Good stay by the big fellow Waterstrat. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Connecticut, they're tall, they're big underneath, they work. Here's a good play. If I have big guy down deep, staying right there. Fan favorite in this building.
Young Dan Waterstrat from Dearborn Heights, Michigan, had 9 rebounds when they played Connecticut. He's going to get better. He's already big. You can't teach that or coach it. 6'11".
And he lets the hair go, too, right?
Yeah, he goes to that 7-2 look, he said. Copeland, who's passing the ball beautifully, and now it's hacked away from Whitney. Well defended by Rutgers, and here come the Knights.
And what a strat that time.
Last
Not
shot.
using the height just then, but using the quickness down low to get that basketball.
Waterstrat puts it back. It doesn't go. A melee on the floor, and a lot of bodies hit the floor, and a helping hand by Waterstrat, helping the senior John Allen up. And off they go to the locker rooms after a very well-contended first half. Louis Orr, seeing his Pirates down by 12, rallying back to trail at halftime by 4. Scarlet Knights wanted to pick up the tempo of their game, get some breakaway shots, and they've been doing that. They've run well tonight. Here they come with Marquise Webb on the drive. 2 of their 26. And caused trouble for the contenders. We'll be back with some more of the first half stats and highlights after this. Welcome to the Rack on the campus of Rutgers University, where the Scarlet Knights, who led by 12 at one point, are holding to a 4-point lead over Seton Hall. Don Crickey with Jim Spanarkel. Seton Hall went almost 5 minutes without a field goal. Then they started to hit 50% the first half. Did have 11 turnovers.
Right. One of the things, Don, I thought in the first 10 minutes, I thought this was Rutgers' tempo, and they played very well. I thought in the latter part of this first half, it was really Seton Hall that did a much better job of playing. But the long ball was where they really started up, getting the rhythm going from long range. You see Douby right there, finishing it off with Webb coming up, taking a shot, knocking it down from the three-point range. But keep in mind, Kelly Whitney has touched the basketball down low. When he gets it down there, he's effective. In the first battle against Rutgers earlier in the year, on January 22nd, he went to the line. He was 11 of 13, has yet to go to the free throw line in this particular basketball game.
Yes, only 4 points for Kelly Whitney. That's been a difference. 19 points and 7 rebounds had he. Kelly Whitney in the January 22nd win over Rutgers at the Continental Airlines Arena. We'll be coming back with second half action in a moment. Leading scores for Rutgers, a lot of balance for the Scarlet Knights. High score has 5. That's Webb and Pizzata. And a happy birthday to you. It's Rutgers leading 26-22 at the half. As right now, as we look at the first half, that's the guy who helped the Hall a lot get back, and it was Jamar Nutter, the sophomore, who came off the bench to score 5, hit 1 of 1 threes, hit their only 3. There is Douby. In the first half, they were limited. 7 points between these two sharpshooters in the back line, but the three-point shooting has been the difference. There's a 9-point advantage for Rutgers at the three-point arc. They've hit 4 of 13 tonight. You see what they did in the previous 3 games. Only 18%, very un-Rutgers-like.
Absolutely, and when they can get that going from long range, they're a different type of team. I still think they'd like it to be a little bit better than that because they need that rhythm going long, but I go back to the open when we touched on the fact that get some guys taking the ball to the basket, get some layups, get your rhythm. That's what they did earlier in this basketball game. We'll see if they come back and do it in the second half to begin.
Jim, you look for any difference in the style of play? They had a lot of looks at Whitney down low. Got him the ball. I think Rutgers did a great job defending it away from him, and he ended up with only 4 points.
But I still think if you're Louis Orr and company, Don, I still think you have to give him the touches down there, especially when he's wide open. We caught a couple of times looking down at them. He was wide open. They didn't give him the basketball. So much of the offense in basketball revolves around getting it to the post, whether your post guy is scoring or just making life easier for the perimeter guys when he kicks it out.
Yeah, he actually had 6 points, did get 5 shots away, hit 3 of 5. The turnover count, Seton Hall turned the ball over 11 times. Rutgers just 7. Rutgers, as we mentioned earlier, their coach, Gary Waters, meeting individually with each player on Sunday. Talking, have fun, get out there and relax. Their team was pressing too hard with that run of success, or lack of it. They've lost 9 of their last 10 of the Scarlet Knights, and they're 5-6 in their home floor this season. First shot is a good one, but it caroms off. Good look, and there's a travel call before it anyway, so the ball will turn over to Seton Hall. Both these teams having lost their way in the last month or so. Seton Hall trying to end a 2-game losing streak. Rutgers trying to end a 5-game losing streak. Seton Hall's lost 6 of 8.
Yeah, these are both teams that playing ugly and winning would be a big plus for them instead of playing pretty and losing the game. No question about that.
They both need this so badly. And now Sarasoli with a freshman mistake. He's got to pick the ball up even though it isn't over and back.
Or at least touch it. I'm wondering whether he touched that basketball or not, too, because once he touches it, the violation takes place. But give Douby credit. He snuck up behind him. Sarasoli did not expect it. You get an easy layup down the other end.
Allen takes it into the paint. Shoots it on the way down and gets the roll. It's again a 4-point game.
Good job there by Webb defensively, and a better job by Allen reloading that shot, pulling it back, kind of squeezing it against the rim and getting it to go over.
And Allen, the senior from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, now has 6 points. He averages 11 a game. Here's Douby. Missed it all, firing off the, coming off the screen.
We get a tip or not? Let's see if they make the call.
It's coming inbounds to Seton Hall.
There must be some Seton Hall fans in here, huh?
Yeah. I think like Rutgers. There are a lot of red guys. Red shirted
chanting
guys.
airball.
Chanting airball and a Scarlet Knight. All who shoot airballs in this building have to pay the price.
Yes, here comes another one.
Sarasoli misses the shot.
Nobody getting back.
Fires it down low, and the ball is slammed down by Byron Joins.
Time for Louis Orr to talk things over. Two mental mistakes, one by Sarasoli a moment ago, and then 5 Seton Hall Pirates not getting back in transition. Louis wants to talk things over.
So with 18:15 to play in the game, it is Rutgers 30 and Seton Hall 24. As the lead goes down low to big Byron Joins for the slam. Rutgers led by 4 at the half. They are now up by 6 with 18:15 to play. As here's a look on the miss by Sarasoli, and quickly down the floor, a good alert look down the court by Marquise Webb, who sets up Byron Joins for a slam to extend the lead. There's Sarasoli, a freshman from Chicago with a lot of ability. You're going to hear a lot more about this guy. Now coming with pressure on the Scarlet Knights, doubling up on the ball, but Seton Hall breaks it.
Good decision there by Gary Waters after the timeout. Throw something different at Seton Hall. Don't let them get into a rhythm coming down after the timeout.
Donald Copeland is left free. Open shot, can't get it down. Fights for the rebound. Wiggins comes up with a step down the sideline of the court, and the ball turns over to Rutgers.
That's a break for the Pirates also, Don.
Pirates.
Yeah, they had a 2-on-0 break down the other end if they could have controlled that basketball. So they had no one down to stop a layup that trip. Gary Waters saw it from his end of the floor.
Always a special event for both schools when the Pirates and the Scarlet Knights play basketball. It's the game in the Garden State. They do it twice a year. Seton Hall won the first round January 22nd. Won easily by 16. Tonight, Rutgers built an early 12-point lead, 20-8, as Seton Hall went in a long cold streak. Then the Hall started to hit, ended up the first half with 50% field goal shooting, and we're down by 4. Copeland always looking to set up shooters. Gets it into the paint. Nicely done by Rutgers. Good hands, gets the ball away. Douby dishes out. Webb fires. Missed it all, and Copeland, smallest man on the floor, comes up with the ball.
Maybe the rims are moving tonight a little bit.
That's right. Be a wind or something.
Keep the doors closed.
There's a stroke and a 3, and J.R. Morris, acclaimed as the top rebounding guard in the Big East. He averages 6 rebounds a game, the junior from Milwaukee. He now has his first 3 of the night on the three-pointer. 3-point game, Rutgers.
Webb wide open down low. Douby a little late getting the ball. He would have had a layup.
He's trying to go inside out to set up the arc shooter. Loose ball, and Billmeyer comes up with it. Lead to Allen. And as John Allen works the crossover dribble, he is fouled by Marquise Webb.
Yeah, pretty good spacing. Seton Hall trying to get back in this ball game and tie it up. Here's a good spin across from Morris, who's just waiting it out. Nice rotation on the basketball, so Seton Hall chips away. They're down 3 right now, looking to possibly tie this trip down the floor.
J.R. Morris looking to launch again. Whitney working hard against Joins. And the foul will be on Byron Joins, the sophomore from Baltimore.
That time, Rutgers chooses to go one-on-one defensively with Joins. In the first half, every time Whitney caught the basketball, how many dribbles? 3. 3 good dribbles, and Douby is a little late getting in that trip. So the first half, decisions were much quicker to double team Whitney. We'll see if Rutgers is going to continue to let him go one-on-one or not here in a second.
Donald Copeland, he's added a lot to the Rutgers offense, this sophomore guard of the St. Anthony's in Jersey City. Really knows how to play, very good under pressure, and always looking to set up scores like Whitney. And again, good defense. That was Marquise Webb who knocked it away.
Not only stealing the basketball, but keeping his heels off the out-of-bounds line, too. Terrific defensive play.
Now a whistle stops play with 16:10 to play.
Number 4, J.R. Morris, his 3rd personal foul. The Pirates' first.
Morris getting his 3rd personal foul. Just before that, it was the 14th turnover of the game by the Seton Hall Pirates. They had 11 in the first half.
Jamar Miller returns for the Pirates.
He's coming off the single-double. He's coming off the single-double.
Quincy Douby will inbound the ball. Goes quickly to Joins.
Watch him off screens after he inbounds. Oh, wide open down low. Once again, a little late on the delivery, but they get away with it.
Billmar, I think Jim left his guy to double up on the ball and had a foul.
See, that's where Webb and Douby, the one trip down the floor, have to give that ball to the post a little bit quicker. If they see it, go with it. Take a little chance, especially if the guy's wide open. You have to give him a shot down there because they're setting good screens for one another. There's Joins. He's open, gets the basketball.
Hey, some big guys bumping hard down low.
Well, you see when the pass is delivered, they get a good catch down there. Billmeyer that time is at a disadvantage because he allows the catch on the blocks, and a good, strong post player will go right at him. 9 out of 10 times you're going to get a call going your way.
But he provides a real physical presence at 6'10", 260. Just a sophomore out of Pennington, New Jersey. At the free throw line, Byron Joins, a 70% free throw shooter. Joins has shot the ball well in the conference. He's a 50% field goal shooter in Big East. It's been important.
See, I'm still convinced, though, both of these teams really lack a true shot blocker down low. So that's why I think the team that's going to drive this ball towards the basket, whether it's to the post or off the guard play, taking it towards the basket, get to the free throw line, will win this game tonight.
Nobody, Jim, in the conference rejects balls like Connecticut. They average 9.3 blocks a game. It's #1 in the country. Down low, beautifully done. Then a reject. Looking for the ball, and it was off the leg of John Allen. So a golden opportunity for the Pirates. They can't convert.
We just saw Webb strip a Pirate. We see Douby do the same thing defensively down low. Team guys are helping one another out at the defensive end for the Scarlet Knights.
Great block from behind by Douby. Then he slaps it off the leg of Allen to create a turnover. Back to Rutgers. 15:48 to play in the game. It's 32-27. Rutgers leading as we check some other Big East scores. Notre Dame holding to a 4-point lead over Boston College. Undefeated Boston College with under a minute to play at Notre Dame. And Pittsburgh building a lead on St. John's. That's been the Red Storm's trouble. They can stay close with everybody.
Right.
Then they run out of gas with a short lineup. They have only 8 scholarship players, and 6 are freshmen or sophomores. But the reports are they're in for a pretty big recruiting year. So it could change. Here's a steal by Allen. And the senior does the right thing. Sets up the offense. Allen with the offensive rebound. It doesn't go.
Kind of lost it on the way up, Allen, just then. It didn't really get a good flip with the right hand. I think that one squeezed out of his hand a little bit. It'll be Rutgers basketball.
Rutgers against Seton Hall. Pressure brings the ball in bounds.
Looking for deflections, looking to slow Rutgers down, take a little time off the clock, but neither one of these teams have been able to get up and down for fast break points at all. Very half-court oriented game.
It gets rough down low. It's tough to get anything going inside. And now we have a travel violation signal, so the ball turns over with 15:15 to play in the game.
Combination of both teams playing pretty good defense, making it difficult. And that time Gary Waters and Douby on the floor having trouble going off the screen and shuffled his feet a little bit. But both teams are not allowing the other to get into any kind of rhythm offensively.
Allen pulling up. Good looking play by the senior forward. John Allen strokes off the dribble. He has 8. It's a 3-point game, Rutgers.
And pounding that ball down to the floor allows you to get that good elevation with your lift to get your shot to go down.
There's a classic example, but the shot didn't go. Douby setting himself up with the dribble. Here's Allen leading the break. Down low to Nutter, and he is crashed into by Quincy Douby diving for the ball to defend. 14 fouls so far in the half on Rutgers, 3 on Seton Hall.
Scarlet Knights fourth. Team foul. Joel Wiggins returns for Rutgers.
Here's what Quincy Douby has done tonight. He scored 7 points on 3 of 7 shooting.
Oh, wide open. Wide open. You cannot have that underneath your own basket.
Nicely done by the Hall. And they're back to within 1. And the playing floor now, Marcus Kuzan for Seton Hall.
I think it was Copeland that was wide open down low for the layup. Boy, the big guys are screening one another when he comes sliding through.
Shields looking for a 3-point try. He forces one.
Yeah,
rebound comes down to Kuzan, and here comes Seton Hall. Chance to take the lead. Allen will do it. Seton Hall goes in front for the first time tonight.
And that gets Gary Waters up off the Rutgers bench. Seton Hall's bench is up for a different reason. They're excited to be up by a point, and Rutgers has to call a timeout to talk things over again. Here's the little flip pass. Douby goes for the steal. What that means is nobody's behind him. Bailey was up by the foul line when that occurs. Here's Nutter with the pass. Let's see what happens. You know what? That's a pure violation right there. You cannot bounce the ball from out of bounds on that type of play to hit the out of bounds and kick it out. That was it. The officials, you know, Don, and this is not a knock, a criticism of the officials, because when we run these replays back, I tell you, I'm shocked at how successful, how good they are. But right there, that bounce basketball, they got away with it.
John Allen has been a major factor in the Seton Hall comeback in this game. At one point, the Pirates were down 20-8 in the first half. He has now scored 10 points as the senior John Allen on 5 of 8 field goal shooting. He also has 9 rebounds as Seton Hall leads for the first time in this game.
Rutgers has to take something towards the basket here. There's no question in my mind. Go at it and attack. There you go.
Joel Wiggins does that. He takes it to the rack, and at the rack lays it in.
I tell you, walking off of that timeout, 5 guys, they just seemed like they had just had the energy sucked out of them from a Rutgers standpoint. They've got to just start lightening it up a little bit and going towards the basket and get to the free throw line.
Lead changes hands. Seton Hall briefly took back the lead by a point. And now Rutgers throws the ball away. And Coach Gary Waters ages a bit on the bench. Just a little bit.
That's why it's so much easier to sit up here, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just age naturally.
This is also the best place to broadcast from.
Yeah, it is.
Get the upper view. They also serve one of the finer pregame meals here at Rutgers. That's our tech dollars at work.
That's it. I noticed you put a little bit in your bag, too. A traveler for the ride home.
Back here for the dogs. Here is Norris. He goes down now. He gets it out to J.R. Morris to Copeland. Nutter.
Guys starting to attack, though. They're going towards the basket. Good effort overall by both guys.
Nutter's helped him. This kid's a high-energy guy. This is going to go down to the horn, and maybe won't be over then.
I think we're going to grunt and grind our way to that horn now.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of tough possessions.
That's it. Not for the light of heart out there right now.
Both coaches, I think, are preaching conservatism at the offensive end. And here is a push-off. I think, oh, if they're going to get
Bailey, huh?
Rutgers on it. Yeah, they get big Ollie Bailey pushing off on Whitney. That's the second on Bailey.
Bailey, his second. The Scarlet Knights' fifth.
Well, once again, I know I've just said this 3 minutes ago, but guys, it's time to go to the basket. That's how you're going to win this basketball game. Don't forget it, and don't settle for outside shots. You can get them anytime you want. So who's going to crash and go after it?
Another freshman with the ball, Brian Lang for Seton Hall. So yeah, they've done well with the ball in this guy's hands, Donald Copeland. And now we have a foul at the offensive end on Kelly Whitney. He pushed off.
Late getting up there, a little push, a little moving, and the hip is moving a bit. Watch how late he is. And you know what? It's really not always the big guy's fault on that play. Copeland sees him coming. He's got to wait until he gets there to set the screen, because by Copeland leaving early, it puts Whitney in the moving screen situation and they catch him. So Copeland has to wait.
Here is Joel Wiggin into the paint, laying it up and off. People crashing for the ball. Whitney gets it, and Tom Lopes is right there and says, you stepped on the baseline. It's back to the Scarlet Knights.
That's actually a break for the Pirates, because he would have given up a layup, because hitting it off the leg didn't work at all just then.
So Rutgers trailed momentarily, but now they lead by 1 on their home floor. This is Don Cricky with Jim Spinarco back at the rack on the campus of Rutgers, where Seton Hall took the lead briefly and now trails the Scarlet Knights by 1. The unbeaten season of Boston College ended moments ago. After 20 straight wins, the Eagles fall at Notre Dame 68-65. Boston College with the first 20-0 start in Big East history. And now Rutgers with the ball, holding to a 1-point lead.
Puts a good notch on the belt of Notre Dame, too, with a good win there, huh? For the record.
Yeah,
Beat Connecticut recently.
A resume game. Almost beat Syracuse. Syracuse with a great ability to come back, and that's what Boston College has been doing all year. A lot of their wins are come from behind. They've been in some battles. They had to go to double overtime to beat Yale by 2. But they won, and now Dan Waterstrat, an early crowd favorite in his freshman year, strokes and builds the lead to 3 points for the Scarlet Knights.
Plus, with that win for Notre Dame, it gives them 6 wins in the conference, so it inches them up to try to stay with Villanova and Pitt. But it's always great to get a win that gives you national recognition and a lot of national stage, and that one will, knocking off BC.
Whitney can't get it to go. Looking for a foul call, none forthcoming. The official right there said the defense was clean, as we'll watch freshman Dan Waterstrat a moment ago.
And we'll watch him fill the middle of the floor. Right off the elbow, a little jumper from 15. Nobody reacts. Big fella can shoot the ball from there, but somebody better pick him up.
Yeah, watching him warm up, he had a real nice stroke from 12, 14 feet.
And he moves well, too, so he anticipates. That was a good anticipation by him to fill an open spot on the floor.
Rutgers now might try to work some clock, getting a 3-point lead going. Try to shorten the game some. 10 on the shot clock.
Good decision by Shields not to shoot.
Joins Waterstrat.
Wow. Great effort.
Sacrificing his body for love of the he can really run the floor, Waterstrat. This guy's going to be good.
It's an awkward fall going for that ball out of bounds, too. Good to see him okay.
Whitney down low, a good-looking shot that rolls off, and Bill Meyer's there to follow it in. And the Hall is back to within 1. Bill Meyer has 6.
Now, once again, the teams that want to play this thing 5 feet in, which one's going to step up the most often going towards the hoop? Rutgers likes to go on long-range shooting sometimes, so look at big fella was open again.
I tell you.
Wow, look at this.
Byron Jones can move some folks out as he put Whitney on the deck, and now John Allen, the senior, cruises in. He has 12, and the Hall takes back the lead for a second time.
John Allen 6 of 9, 9 rebounds also, so a terrific effort here for him. Fans not appreciative of the lack of calls. Down at the Rutgers end, the last trip. Give the basketball up. You get a layup. There you go.
Breakaway by Copeland. Rolls off. But the rebound goes to Whitney, and now Joins takes it and calls a timeout.
We've seen everything in this game. We've what, a half a dozen air balls at least. Missed layup here and there. Great efforts on the positive side. Guys diving out of bounds.
That would have given, had Copeland converted, Seton Hall a 3-point lead. Pirates wouldn't know what to do with such a big advantage in this crazy game.
Well, the work down low. Whitney, as you touched on, just rolling one off the front and side rim. And Billmeyer filling up big, doing the job on the offensive glass. And here he just holds his ground. I think he got away with one right there. Anytime the big guys bring their arms down. Now, the only thing with that was Joins kind of shuffling his feet a little bit, but I thought he got away with one for a second.
Something to cheer about tonight. This ball game going back and forth. It looked like the Rutgers Scarlet Knights might blow them out early. Down Cricky with Jim Spinarkel at the rack. Piscataway, New Jersey, Rutgers University. The rematch of a game played January 22nd in the Netherlands when Seton Hall was a relatively easy 16-point winner. Turnovers have been a factor. Seton Hall with 16 turnovers, 11 in the first half. Rutgers turnover count now to 14. And Rutgers with a 12-point lead early, 20-8. Saw the lead cut to 4 at the half. And then Seton Hall has rallied twice to take 1-point leads here in the second half.
Well, keep in mind in that first game, it was only a 4-point differential at the half, 34-30 in the favor of Seton Hall.
Shields firing from out of the area code. I don't know what that was. I don't think it was what Coach Waters was looking for. He hasn't had a look in a while. Foul is called, though, and this one is on Billmeyer. He gets his fourth.
His fourth personal foul. The Pirates' fifth team foul.
Tell you, Billmeyer versus Joins, that's like a sumo wrestling match down there. I mean, there's a lot of collisions between these two big guys.
Change their outfits.
Here's the inbounds. Beautifully stroked. There is Joel Wiggin. Pearl move. Knocks it down, and Rutgers leads.
Well, Wiggin coming off that screen sharply, 3 of 4 from the floor. A rhythm shot. You usually shoot it more confidently when you get the legs underneath.
Allen feeds out. Lang can't get it to go, and let's see what the call is. It's going to come inbounds to the Scarlet Knights, who are back up by 1.
Good effort just then by Morris to get that basketball for a moment, but stepped on the out of bounds as he retrieved it. And then we keep looking up, and these teams just don't want to separate on the scoreboard.
Now it's going to be, I would think, more lead changes. The rack sold out. It always is when Seton Hall is the opponent. Both these teams having lost their way in the last month, looking to get back on track. Here's Quezada, who had those early 5 points for Rutgers as they built the 12-point lead. Waterstrat doesn't go. Battle for the rebound, and Jamar Nutter comes up with it, and he is fouled by Dan Waterstrat coming over the top.
That was great energy on the glass just then by both teams on the right side going after that miss. A lot of activity with energy. It's a good combination.
5 team fouls on Seton Hall in the second half. 6 team fouls on the Scarlet Knights. Waterstrat sits down. And Jamar Nutter, at his leisure, works the ball over the timeline against Quezada. Allen, he knows where he's heading, right into the paint. He's helped him.
Webb had no choice but to put his hands out and stop him.
Foul called on the play. It's on Marquise Webb, his third. And Rutgers is at the limit, 17 fouls. (38-37). Rutgers in the lead. As John Allen, a senior for Seton Hall, has really stepped up tonight, getting 6 of 9 field goals. He has 12 points and 9 rebounds.
Nice pull up to start this sequence off, and then 2 drives back to back where he's looked at the defender, watched the defender, made reactions in the air to take his shot, the ball away from the block attempt, and deliver the goods.
And sophomore guard Donald Copeland of the Hall, he has been a big factor. He has a career-high 5 assists tonight. As at the free throw line is John Allen. He is a 78% free throw shooter. 17 fouls in Rutgers, so the Hall shooting the rest of the way. 1 in bonus till they get to 10, then they get 2 shots. Seton Hall has 5 team fouls. Would be a big factor with 7:52 to play. On the way for the lead, and Seton Hall for a 3rd time takes a 1-point lead.
Seton Hall has to try at the offensive end of the floor, continue to take advantage of that 2-team foul differential, continue to get to the free throw line, and try to play it clean at their end as long as they can.
Hasn't been too clean or down low. It's been rough as Joins tries a hook shot.
Wow, look at this effort.
A lot of people going for rebounds. It's touched by a Rutgers player, so Seton Hall will bring it inbounds. Rutgers 5-6 at home this season. Last season, the Scarlet Knights pretty close to invincible here. They were 16-2 as they had their first 21 season in 20 years and went to the finals of the NIT.
And you know the teams coming in here, and Seton Hall in particular tonight, will be talking about that, hey, they're not as good as they used to be on the home floor. Let's take advantage of it while they're down and keep attacking them.
Allen dishes out to Nutter.
Whoa.
Drives to Bankman. Look at Nutter out hustle everybody. But he stepped inbound out of the out-of-bounds line, and so it comes back inbounds. And Rutgers down by 1 with a chance to take back the lead.
Great effort there to go after the basketball. Look at the effort right here.
The Garden State gut check the rest of the way.
That's for sure. It's all happening at the defensive end, too. These guys are just not letting up, and they're not giving any space whatsoever.
Down low goes the hard-charging Ollie Bailey. He gets it up and down. The Knights take back the lead.
And the beauty of that play by Bailey was that for about a count of 2, he was in trouble before he got his shot off. But watch at the end of this move here, Don. He holds the left foot down. See the left foot? It stays on the floor. He holds his ground, and then goes after he gets his strength back. Now he goes up with the basketball. Terrific baseline move with strength and authority by Bailey.
And the foul was on Whitney, the 6th-team foul on Seton Hall. Ollie Bailey from Farragut High School in Chicago, where Kevin Garnett came from. He is a 66% free throw shooter. Bailey at the line. He was the only player for Rutgers in double figures in a 5-point loss to Georgetown over the weekend.
Little defensive switch up right now. Rutgers going full court. Seton Hall elects to go right over the top. Good way to break it.
Bailey has 7 points tonight.
Step out by Bailey. Deflects. Copeland going the other way.
Bill Meyer. He will not take that 15-footer. Copeland looking to take it in. Quezada, good defender. Denies the penetration. Whitney. And somebody's getting it.
3 on the shot clock.
Rebound tapped out to Quezada. The freshman from Washington takes it all the way down, and they're going to get him on a player control foul, a charge, if you will. And the ball turns back over to the Pirates with a chance to take back the lead.
And Copeland held his ground very nicely. Good decision by Copeland. And Quezada losing the basketball. Watch him lose this ball just a little bit. Right there. You see him lose it. While he's going down to regather the basketball up, he loses control of his body. Consequently, he runs Copeland over. And unfortunately for him, he's going to take a little rest over there.
As Rutgers brings pressure, Seton Hall breaks it easily.
A lot of referees in the building wearing red. Bill Meyer, they thought just traveled. I thought he may have dragged that pivot foot. I love the students down there letting out the big.
Rutgers students, they haven't sat down yet. J.R. Morris, as Rutgers stays in that man defense. It's been tight. Here is Copeland, always looking to set the table for a score inside. Tipped out, hustling to the ball, and a major collision, and it comes inbounds.
Look at Louis Orr over there picking his player up.
Seton Hall
getting in his face, encouraging him.
Well, Louis was tough. There wasn't a love-in after that loss on Saturday.
Go after this one, huh?
He said they weren't ready to make tough plays, his team.
I'd say that qualifies as a tough one right there.
Yeah, they're making them tonight.
I don't think we've seen the end of the tough plays. Whitney again looking to establish, has the basketball in the blocks.
Whitney moving on Joins.
That's a good call from Timmy Higgins. He's going to kill Joins on the grab. Joins is kind of that trip, just trying to put his arms around the waist.
Joins got his third.
The fans are ready to go at the rack.
Has been a tremendous home court success story for Rutgers in the recent years here. They're adjusting to the loss of big players from last year's team, Lamazana and Axani. And Seton Hall adjusting to the loss of one of the best point guards ever to play, I think, in the Big East. Andre Barrett, now at the NBA's Houston Rockets. Barrett had the ball in his hands every step of the way for 4 years.
That's part of the adjustment that Seton Hall has gone through this year. New point guards, new guards handling the ball, even though they have a couple of vets like Allen who can help out handling.
Douby as they double up on the arc, denying the three-pointer. Now they get it to Bailey.
I thought Billmeyer may have gotten a hand on Bailey for a jump ball. Timmy Higgins got lost in the traffic down there with 4 big bodies. Hard to see.
This is Ollie Bailey. Who can forget Jammin' James Bailey of yesteryear at Rutgers. Donald Copeland finds a way down the lane. And he gives Seton Hall a 1-point lead.
Joins coming out of that pack just then walking up the floor also. He may have gotten kicked as Copeland went to the basket that trip.
Copeland with 4 points and 5 assists. Bailey has the ball almost stripped by Copeland.
You almost get the feeling that these guys are waiting and can't wait long enough for this next timeout. Boy, they're attacking and bumping and banging and man, is it? You cannot, you look up at the score and you say 41-40 with 4:10 left. It's not the prettiest basketball game from an offensive standpoint. But if you like physical, conference, aggressive play, we'll let this play speak for itself in terms of the tone that's been set here.
Flat on the deck is Kelly Whitney, and going to the line is Ollie Bailey, a 6'7", 230-pound freshman forward who is hitting 55% of his field goals this season because most of them are down close.
2 signs when you're tired, Don. You put your hands on your knees and you bend over. Bailey did that, then he put his hands on his head. 2 signs, both of them showing a little weariness right now.
To signal a legal receiver downfield. And here's Copeland. He's a cagey little guy, this Donald Copeland. He plays smart. 41-40 Seton Hall. And now down to 3:52 to play. Whitney wants it. So does Allen. Allen into the paint. Puts it up and down.
Pretty composure there, too, by Allen. Once again, tracking a shot down, really hustling his way into the middle of the lineup.
And John Allingem now has 16 points. This senior forward having one of his best games.
And that contingent of Seton Hall fans, Don, who got themselves, I guess you could refer to as the cheap seats way up in the right corner. There's a bunch of them up there making some noise for Seton Hall.
They didn't put them on the 50-yard line, did they? It's Big East Hoops from ESPN Plus again next Saturday at noon Eastern Time as Hakeem Warwick and Jerry McNamara lead number 7 Syracuse into Villanova to take on the explosive backcourt duo of Randy Four and Alan Ray. It is Syracuse versus number 25 Villanova Saturday at noon Eastern Time from ESPN Plus. 7 lead changes in the last 10 minutes. There were no lead changes in the first half as Rutgers had the lead all the way. Built an early 20-8 lead. That was their biggest, a 12-point advantage. Led by 4 at the half. So now the pressure is on the Rutgers offensive end. And the Scarlet Knights have to hit something here as Seton Hall has its biggest lead of the game, just 3 points.
We're looking for Douby off a screen. Let's see if somebody can put the ball on the floor and make something happen with it.
Copeland is giving Douby no looks. Now Douby gets away and hits it.
Oh, money time.
He broke off a screen, lost Copeland, and hit the 3. We're tied. 10 points for Douby.
And it should be a very exciting and interesting last 3 minutes and change of this basketball game.
Maybe more, Jim.
That could. It has. It does. Look at this.
It's a steal. No foul. Douby is rejected by Copeland at 5'10". Douby, as he hit the stanchion hard.
And the question becomes, what are the officials going to call on this? Was it climbing over the back and grabbing the shoulders and head?
I think he's going for the block. He had his hand on the ball.
Yeah, I thought so originally. Pretty good challenge.
My goodness, 2:57 to play. Quincy Douby, who hit that big three to tie the game at 43. He'll be going to the free throw line when we come back. Watch Copeland elevate. And we're ready for the stretch run here at the rack at Rutgers. Allen, 16 points and 9 rebounds, leads the Seton Hall Pirates in scoring. Douby has 10 points and 4 steals. Kelly Whitney enjoying this heated competition. As at the free throw line is Quincy Douby. He is a 72% free throw shooter. And he gives the Scarlet Knights the lead as we take a look now at our BMW ultimate drive of the game.
And last drive by Douby going after it. You know, looking at that particular play, Copeland went after Don. You were right on the money with your comments, too. He went after the basketball. I thought originally he might have taken one hand and gotten him on the shoulders or the neck, which is a dangerous play.
Yeah.
That was an aggressive, clean play. I think it was the right call from the officials also.
And Douby converted both. The Scarlet Knights lead by 2. Still a long way to go. Here's Whitney. And he is fouled as he takes it into the paint.
They'll go to the line for 2 now, with Rutgers picking up their 10th foul from a team perspective.
And the free throw line, not the best part of his game, as you know, Jimmy, is a 64% free throw shooter, is this junior from Chicago.
11 of 13 in the first contest that they played.
He had an interesting observation during the year. Lewis Orr said his team was playing like they were scared one game. Kelly Whitney said, I'm not scared of anybody.
Yeah. Go down there and stand next to him and you'll know why. He's put together pretty nicely, as is that guy right there, Joins, and Bailey also. Some big bodies cruising around tonight. Boy, it's always safe to be up here.
Rolls off that. The first free throw was Whitney's first point of the second half. He has 7 points for the game.
Yeah, Rutgers have gone to the line 8 times for 8 attempts, and Seton Hall only 7 tonight.
January 22nd, when Seton Hall was a 16-point winner over Rutgers, Whitney had 19 points. The lead all scorers. 1-point lead for the Knights. Not much out there. Now a 4th shot, and it's down. Ricky Shields, the co-captain, his 242nd career three-pointer, and that ties Jeff Billett for the most all-time at Rutgers. And it gives the Scarlet Knights a 4-point lead.
And you know what, Don, this guy's been struggling, Ricky Shields, for the last couple of games that we've documented already. 1 for 6 from 3-point range tonight. I would not have guessed he would have taken this shot, but he's so confident. Shooters have to shoot when they think they have shots. Now he's being contested by Morris right in his face. Man, that's money right there from the deep corner.
Shields was 0 for 11 on 3-point tries in his last 2 games. He is Rutgers' #1 3-point shooter. Has hit now 46 for this season.
My buddy Jeff Billett is sliding down in his chair right now at home, sensing a record's going to go and disappear. Jeff had a great career at Rutgers also, as has Ricky Shields shooting the basketball.
And Ricky's a long way from done. He's still got a lot of games to play.
I think that one might have gotten that little hump off the back.
That's right. He might light it up now.
Right. I think he was pressing a little bit. As you near those records, people get in your ears, you read about it, you know what's going on. Every shot, you tense up a little bit more. That one was pure Ricky Shields right there, though.
And after Seton Hall built its biggest lead of the game, a 3-point advantage not that long ago, the Scarlet Knights on their home floor have gone on an 8-1 run in the last 59 seconds. And they lead by 4. Gary Waters intently looking on, looking for his team to end a 5-game slide.
Now you're playing on the road. If you're Seton Hall right now, you're down 4 points with 2 minutes and change left. The first thought process that goes through my mind is, let's get some short shots here, guys. Let's get this going towards the basket. Worst case, we want to end up on the free throw line this trip.
Big possession now for the Hall. Whitney's down low.
There you go.
And he gets it down and cuts the Rutgers lead to 2.
Good decision by Seton Hall coming out of that timeout. Good job from Louis Orr and his team executing very nicely.
And as you see, the game clock winds down to 1:38 to play. Douby with a good dish. Oh! Shot goes.
A traffic jumper by Bailey with the terrific delivery by Douby.
And now the importance of every possession is magnified as we're down to 1:20 to play. Rutgers by 4.
They got to start thinking now, if they don't score in this play, little bump by Webb. Good call from the officials. A leg bump with the knee coming out.
Marquise Webb getting his 4th personal foul. And this gives Seton Hall a chance to cut into the 4-point lead with the clock stop.
Absolutely. Bailey getting a little body bump right there. Douby passing the ball, fire it up. And here comes Whitney going after it. Where do you want to score? You want to get the ball down low, make things happen. Great decisions by both teams in the last minute or two.
Allen with a sure stroke from the free throw line. He is 3 for 3 from the line. 78% for the season. Having a big game is senior John Allen. 17 points. And it is a 2-point game with 75 ticks left in regulation.
This is where you play the odds right now. It should pan out that Rutgers will have just about a 2-for-1 opportunity right now, but there's plenty of time. They don't have to rush their 2-for-1. Wow. Just a wow.
We're not having contact. We're having full force collisions out here.
They're going to have to change the name of this sport soon.
And it's time now for the Cooper Defensive Player of the Game, and that honor goes to Quincy Douby of Rutgers, who's stolen the ball 4 times. And now Big Ali Bailey goes to the free throw line, a 66% free throw shooter. This freshman doesn't look like a freshman.
Interesting enough how there's been a lack of free throws taken throughout this game. And now with the miss, how important each and every one of them will be in the last 101.
Boy, are they.
Marquise Webb returns for Rutgers.
Ricky Shields comes out. Marquise Webb comes in to work at the defensive end. Ali Bailey for a 3-point Rutgers lead. Didn't get it. Morris rebounds. The Hall down by 2. 55 seconds to play.
Once again, convert this into a short game. Don't settle unless you attack and look inside first. Oh, Allen almost lost that basketball.
Copeland. Bang! He gives Rutgers, puts them behind now by 1 as he hits it from about 20 feet out. So Donald Copeland, looking for the big shot at the big time in the game, strikes it. And Louis Orr with his assistant coaches Brian Nash, Billy Garrett, and John Dunn. Gary Waters with his assistants Garland Nance, Larry DeSimpler, and Jim Carr.
Donald Copeland just really spaced the floor well. Allen looking to the blocks first. It gets Rutgers to tilt their defense towards the middle of the floor and down towards a lower look, because that's where Allen was looking. And Copeland, you talk about catching and shooting in stride with confidence. And that's the Pirate fans up there, about a couple of hundred of them or so, way up high in the rack. Are very, very happy as we take a look at the game set.
We're coming to you from the State University of New Jersey. Rutgers, the rack they call it. An exciting building to see basketball in. It's always alive with these red-clad Rutgers fans. In a game that Seton Hall trailed by 12 points in early and by 4 at the half. Then the lead has gone back and forth. The Hall has made its last 4 shots when the pressure's been the greatest. And Copeland has really stepped up big, hitting the 3 to give Seton Hall the lead. The Hall on a 5-0 run at this point. Both these teams have a history of close games this season. And right now we come down to the final 36.4 seconds. Our producer tonight, Darren Chiapetta, director Scott Katz, executive producer Mike Moore, Don Pricky with Jim Spinarco. Thanks to our statistician John LaBombarda.
Well, Don, in those close games of recent memory with Syracuse and losing, Douby took the long shot that we showed everybody earlier in this game, the replay of that was in and out. He also against St. John's took one the last second shot that bounced out. I still think right now it's a good opportunity to go towards the basket, get it to him, and see if he can break somebody down off the dribble.
Well, Douby's going to put it up, and he knocks it down. 27 seconds to play, and Rutgers leads by 1.
Great job by Douby just then. Don't settle for the long one. Put the ball on the floor. This kid, I'll tell you one thing about him. He's got guts, because the two shots that bounced in and out for him against Syracuse and St. John's that I just mentioned, I don't know if most kids in college will be able to pick themselves up off the floor. Look at him right now, confidently going by his man. Bill Meyer steps up, and look at the rotation and the extension of the right arm over the big guy. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
And Rutgers, looking to break a 5-game losing streak, takes a 1-point lead with 27 seconds to play. Douby playing really well.
5 of 9 from the floor, a couple of assists, but let's not forget one thing. 27.1 seconds is still an eternity left in this basketball game.
Douby had a total of 18 points in his previous 3 games combined. And tonight he hits for little guard Donald Copeland. There's been 10 lead changes, 2 ties, all in the last 14 minutes. All that's happened.
They don't have to hurry, but obviously they don't want to wait and bring this clock down. Good drive here.
And a jump stop, puts it up, gets it down, and Seton Hall takes the lead.
No timeouts left.
Here comes Rutgers. 12 seconds to go.
They better hurry, though. I don't like the fact they're just going to wait it out. Keep going towards the basket.
The ball is rejected, and here is a whistle-stopping play, and there's going to be a foul call against Seton Hall with 6.5 minutes to play. I think it's on Copeland.
And one of the things about Wigan there, he started to hesitate. You know, you're down a point. A lot of times in college basketball, you see teams say, let's take the shot with 3 seconds left. You really push yourself to the wire that way. Good job by Wigan just then to start into his play at about the 10-second mark. If you miss and don't get the call, at least you still have 6.5 seconds or 5 seconds to go into your fouling mode. So good decision by Wigan right there.
And the foul, Jim, was on John Allen. So Louis Orr seeing this game go every way. 6.5 seconds left, and Orr calls his final timeout. Rutgers knows heartbreak at the end of the final seconds of the game, down by 2. Rutgers' Quincy Douby attempted a 3-pointer. This was back on January 24th against ranked Syracuse. It went in and out. And the final score was the Orange 86, the Scarlet Knights 84. And now with this lead going back and forth, 10 lead changes and 2 ties. Seton Hall will have lasted back, but they're down by 1.
Well, they've had some tough losses, and you know, very competitive. It's been frustrating for this team. It's difficult, I'm sure, from Gary Waters' spot to try to get these young guys motivated day in and day out. But once again, here in the rack, they've been able to lift themselves into a pretty nice position, you know, fighting their way through it, but it's been difficult.
So going to the free throw line will be Joel Wigan, who is a 78% free throw shooter. If he should hit them both, he would give Rutgers a 1-point lead, and Seton Hall would have 6.5 seconds. Wigan has not shot from the line tonight. He's a senior. He's been down this road before, a co-captain of the team, along with Ricky Shields. There is Joel Wigan from the Bronx.
Shots, guys! Easy, 2.
This is for the tie. We're tied.
Now keep in mind, you have, if one guy gets the ball for Seton Hall and they're down, you have time for about 4 or 5 dribbles before you can take a shot.
This is for the lead. Seton Hall gets the ball. Game is tied. Here comes Whitney down the floor. He's got to launch something wild. Copeland's going to fire. He does. And we go to overtime. Louis Orr up shaking hands with all his players. A moral victory of sorts. They could have been down by 1 and seen the clock run out. So we go to overtime at the end of regulation, 53-all. You ready for more, Jim Spinarco?
And we have no choice. Here we go. Here's the shot. Once again.
Too much is not enough.
And in and out for Rutgers. Fortunately, Seton Hall, they have Whitney with the basketball. The guards released too early. And they get a prayer trying to win this game. But we have another 5 to go.
Or more. No guarantees that overtime will decide it. All night long, it's been a battle, very physical play, as we now go to perhaps the first overtime. Maybe there'll be more.
And people have been flying all over the place. They've been bumping into one another. I mean, it's not just blue jerseys going down. It's blue, it's white. And it's been consistent the whole night long.
And it's been clean. They're just playing hard.
Yeah, they sure are.
So Seton Hall really getting renewed life at the end of this free throw. And then seeing the game, the final of regulation. And final, it was 53-all where it stands now as we go to the first overtime. Perhaps the last overtime, and it'll be a jump ball at midcourt. Joins will go up. Byron joins against Kelly Whitney of Seton Hall. Inside court, Douby has the ball, having a big game for Rutgers. A sweeping hook. A thing of beauty for the Scarlet Knights. They take a 2-point lead in overtime.
The runner going up the ladder for Douby, who seems much more confident.
Copeland looking inside. He wants to set up a big guy. Hillmeyer will not shoot from out there.
But he had Whitney at the high-low. They're looking to establish him.
There's a 3-ball on the way. Hillmeyer fighting for it. It stays here. There's a foul on Rutgers.
Waterstrat with the foul, but here's that runner.
His second.
Up the ladder and off the glass.
45, Dan Waterstrat.
Both teams will be shooting 2 free throws in every foul. Both over the 10-foul limit. Hillmeyer, for a big guy, a very good free throw shooter. He's a 77% free throw shooter. But that line drive look to his shot. .4:23 to play in overtime. The game that saw 10 lead changes in the last 14 minutes. And 3 ties. Rutgers with the ball and a 1-point lead.
Take a deep breath and start playing overtime and keep your composure and make good decisions at both ends of the floor. Looking for Douby. They want the ball in his hands.
Not enough on it, but an offensive rebound taken down by Joins. Knocked away. Seton Hall comes up with it and out of control. J.R. Morris goes to the basket. And they blow a scoring opportunity when they could have set up something.
Absolutely a little too anxious for Morris right then. In the open floor, 2-on-1 was developing. They couldn't get the good spacing.
And now the Scarlet Knights working the ball up court. Yeah, this is Joel Wiggin. Waterstrat outside. Working a lot of cutters down low. They're trying to free up Joins. Douby's the sure-handed one with so much confidence.
He wants to jump over Copeland.
Down with the rebound is Kelly Whitney.
A one-handed rebound.
Here is Morris. Morris not having a great overtime. There is a foul call down low.
Now, I think they just got a deflection here. There's Waterstrat standing up. Let's see if he gets the basketball off his hands. Yep, they caught him with the deflection, so it'll be Seton Hall basketball.
The Hall down by 1. Here's Copeland. He has been the orchestrator, the table setter. Working the ball. A career high in assists tonight. He has 6. Almost a steal by Wigan.
Almost a carry by Allen. A lot of almost going on.
Nutter dishes out. Ball slapped out of bounds. And it looks like it's going to be an offensive foul against Seton Hall. They got Nutter on a player control foul, his first. But the Scarlet Knights get the ball with their 1-point lead.
Here we go. Joins with the step in, takes his shot. We've probably seen 105 of those today.
There's been some shots being taken.
I'll say.
And now in overtime with a 1-point lead, Rutgers looks to shorten this overtime as they work the ball. Down to 2:42 to play.
The big guys coming out to release. Joins had to help out.
Wigan, here is Shields, the senior sharpshooter, who had been cold from the three-point line, but tied the school record for threes. A runner, as they say in Boston. A one-hand push in the paint. 18 points for Quincy Douby. A 3-point lead for Rutgers in overtime.
Not quite a Lena.
Here is Allen. He's been quiet for a while. Rims out. Rutgers has the ball. As Coach Waters is up, calling for his back line to control the ball, work the clock. Inside 2 minutes to play in overtime.
A huge possession right here. Don't be surprised. They'll get Douby and try to get him spot up time. This is where Shields usually looks to knock people out with his long-range shooting, though, also.
Seton Hall is 0 for 4 field goal tries in the overtime. 1:40 to go.
Allen's not letting Shields catch the basketball.
And as Copeland goes for the steal and a double up on the ball, there is a foul called against Seton Hall.
Against Nutter, I think, with the little body bump.
It is his second.
An opportunity to extend the lead.
Joel Wigan, a 78% free throw shooter, goes to the line. It was Wigan who hit the 1 free throw when he tied the game, missed the second. Rutgers couldn't get a good shot away, and the game ended tied at the end of regulation. Rims out. This for a 4-point Rutgers lead. Scarlet Knights 58, Pirates 54. Copeland with the ball. He could be looking for a 3 any moment. He made a big one in regulation. Whitney out to Copeland. Copeland with a 3. Bang!
Boy, good step in. Good call, Don. Right on the money. Stepping in, ready to shoot the basketball. And obviously takes a 2-possession game right back to 1.
There the Seton Hall students up very high. Yeah. The game's a rumor from up there, but they can see most of it.
They'll get the score on Wednesday.
Here is Webb outside. A 1-point lead with less than a minute to play for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Douby.
Good collapse there by Seton Hall's defense on the perimeter. Douby wanted to turn a corner.
Wow. Great move to the basket by Joel Wigan.
What a blow. Oh, man, was he like...
He has 11. A 3-point lead for Rutgers with 44 seconds left to go in overtime. Joel Wigan sees a gap. And like a halfback, he's through it. Run to daylight and lay it in. 3-point Rutgers lead. Back to Rutgers. 44.4 seconds left to play in overtime. Rutgers leading by 3, 60-57 in a game viewed by both coaches as so important. Rutgers struggling at home this year where they're usually so dominant. They were 16-2 at home last year. They're 5-6 at home this year. And Rutgers has lost 9 of its last 10 games, 5 in a row. That's how badly they need this game. Seton Hall has lost 2 in a row and 6 of its last 8. And has defeated Rutgers earlier in the season, January 22nd in the Meadowlands by 16 points. Allen, the senior forward for Seton Hall, leading scorer in the game with 20 points and 9 rebounds. Quincy Douby, the sophomore sharpshooter from Brooklyn, New York. has hit 18 points and has stolen the ball 4 times for Rutgers.
3-point differential would indicate to go for a 3. I'm a big believer in going towards the basket.
35 seconds. Here's Whitney going towards the basket. It is, and he is fouled, and so they will have a chance to cut the lead of 3 points down to perhaps 1 with the clock stopped.
Watch the quickness on this movie. Bates joins. Joins does not react at all. It's kind of flat-footed, standing straight up. Joins looks like he's a little hurt there, hobbled a little bit. Maybe that's why he didn't move that quickly to cover up the baseline.
Your thinking, Jim, is you take it to the basket, get the higher percentage shot.
Higher percentage shot, you stop the clock, you get to the free throw line. There's 2 or 3 good positives that can happen instead of, because if you miss the long range shot, it's great if you make it, but you play the percentages. The percentages say to go close to the basket rather than long ball with that much time on the clock.
And more Big East basketball coming to you from ESPN Plus again next Saturday as the Syracuse Orange heads into the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia to take on Villanova. And that will be Syracuse, number 7 versus number 25 Villanova, Saturday at noon Eastern time from ESPN Plus. Here tonight with 33.5 seconds to play, a wild game that Rutgers led early by 12 points, 20-8. At the half, Rutgers was up by 4. Then in the last 14 minutes of the game, there were 10 lead changes and 3 ties. And it was tied at the end of regulation. And now into overtime. Kelly Whitney, his team down by 3, goes to the line. He is 1 for 3 on free throws tonight.
Well, regardless of what happens, if he makes 1 or 2, you have to start. Yeah, you have to start thinking about fouling situations right now.
There with a 35-second shot clock, no longer a factor.
Right.
Game clock at 33.5.
So make or miss, you think, go for a quick steal and go for a foul.
So Kelly Whitney, the junior forward, he gets them both. It's a 1-point game. Rutgers leads and will have the ball after a timeout. Really, at this point, the timeouts as much to set the defense and also to get a breath of air. I mean,
absolutely.
Tanks are running low here now as we go overtime in a hard-fought game.
Both of them are out of timeouts. That's an interesting call by Gary Waters right there, using that timeout immediately. Regroup, but he did have the timeout just a moment ago to go over the plays with his guys and just wants to reinforce some things. You look at the ties, lead changes. Well, there's been plenty of action in this game in a relatively low-scoring game, though, even though he's right about where they score for the season. When you look at Seton Hall averaging about 64 points a game, and also Rutgers averaging at about 63. I didn't think they were going to get this high for a while.
Well, Seton Hall is rarely in a high-scoring game. Seton Hall is last in the Big East in scoring and shooting field goal percentage, but doesn't allow many points. In fact, in a loss on Saturday to Boston College, at that time unbeaten as the East went to its 20th straight win. They held the Eagles to their lowest point total, 60 points, but Boston College did win. Then lost tonight at Notre Dame by 3. Here is the inbounds play, nicely done by Rutgers.
Get the big guy. It's a rule. Go get the big guy if he has the basketball. 70% free throw shooter.
And he's made him tonight. He's 2 of 2.
That's his second personal foul.
So big Byron Joins from Baltimore, a sophomore. The guy who lost 40 pounds in the offseason. Picked up his mobility, and now he has a chance to extend the lead to 3. But still 31.6 seconds left. Good to be on the home floor.
Absolutely. No shooter's touch. Heavy, but exact.
At the back of the rim, and it carries straight up and down through, and now Byron Joins will go for a second.
See, now after that shot, as the players line up on the free throw lane, you have to be thinking right now, box out if you're Seton Hall. If you're Rutgers, think miss and go after the ball. There you go.
They box out. Nutter hustling to the ball.
Good job by Nutter there, taking that long rebound. Plenty of time left in this. Copeland doesn't have to hurry.
Seton Hall down by 2. Dish to Whitney. They're looking for Copeland. Here is Whitney down low, and he gets it down, and we're tied with 14 seconds to play. Rutgers maybe with the last at bat.
Now this is where you want to take the shot with about 3 seconds left on the clock.
Maybe we're a long way from done. Copeland goes for the ball. Fight for it. And it'll come inbounds with 4 seconds left to Rutgers. This is going to more overtimes.
Okay. You're resolved with that already.
Not one more. 2 more. This is the first multi-overtime game if it goes to a second overtime, but Rutgers can win it if they hit.
He'll try to get to the lane.
Better launch. He fires. And we go to, oh, we have a foul call.
Louis Orr is up off the bench at half court.
Live.
And I'll tell you what, you put Douby on the line in this situation, you can almost close your eyes if you're Douby, and he'll get one of them to go. I think it was a 3 also.
Well, we have to go to the truth machine, the videotape replay. Douby, a sharpshooter from the free throw line, and he never touched him.
Wow.
Look at the replay. Let's play that again. I don't think Copeland got him.
Well, here's the drive. He's behind, steps across. I'll tell you what the difficulty of that call is.
Tim Higgins, the lead officials over there, they're watching it on replay.
They may be looking just to see if there was time on the clock.
That's what they are doing.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do
over
there.
to a foul.
Right, exactly. Because the other part of that is that
there's no time on the clock.
When Les Jones made the call, look where he's making the call from. Okay, now watch. Copeland comes around. Can you really see from that angle? You're looking through Copeland right there. Listen, we're up high. If it's I'm a big believer. There's 1 second, 1/10 of a second, by the way, on the clock. So let's see if this from this angle, if there's contact. So once again, hard to tell, but I'm a big believer. People say don't let the officials judge and decide the game. If a guy gets fouled at the first second or the last second of a game, he deserves it because he worked for that shot. Now the question becomes whether it's a good call or not. Wow.
Douby with a second chance. Would it be poetic justice if he missed it and they go to a second overtime?
I just went on a limb saying you can almost blindfold this kid. He'd make these shots. There you go.
That's the game. And not a happy ending for Seton Hall. A jubilant ending to a 5-game losing streak for the Scarlet Knights. But if it was a foul, it was at best a ticky-tack foul.
Well, I don't disagree with that. You very rarely see, you really don't like to see the officials be involved at the end of a game, and you're right. The replays we had right there weren't the best judge in terms of, not that the camera angles, the camera angles are fine, and the looks we're getting, it's just very, very difficult to pick up whether there was actually contact or not. And here's your game winner.
Wow. So Rutgers finally holds serve on its home court where they've had so little success this year. They are now 6-6 at home on the Scarlet Knights. And for Gary Waters, a jubilant ending to a 5-game losing streak and a bitter defeat for Seton Hall. As a foul call at an overtime shot at the close of overtime, and Douby, we look now at the Pontiac game-changing performance. He didn't touch him.
No. Right there, you can't see anything. It's difficult to make the judgment from where he made that call. The only thing I could guess is that there was some body on the waist high, but Rutgers will take the win any way they can get it. I don't know what Louis Orr is going to say to his squad when he goes back to the Seton Hall Pirates.
Well, Les Jones was the nearest guy to it, so he had a better look than any of us. Yep.
Absolutely. So
he made the call. And that will do it. 62-61. The final numbers are up in overtime. Rutgers avenges an earlier 16-point loss to Seton Hall and beats the Pirates tonight on a free throw at the close of overtime by Quincy Douby.
Well, Seton Hall, tough loss. Rutgers got the ball to Quincy Douby. He was the guy. They wanted to get him the basketball and let him dictate what was going to happen at the end of this basketball game. But I will tell you this, Don, that really the replays Not much of a foul if there was one at all, but once again, just so the viewers understand what we're looking at, we're halfway up. We're not on the floor to get a real courtside look of that particular call. So we're looking at replays because we're up about 20 rows at the rack here, so we're not on the floor.
Douby really stepped up, though. Quincy Douby did. He had 19 points, 7 of 13 field goal shooting, 3 of 4 free throws, including the game winner. Here he is stroking from the arc, and he had 4 steals in the game to Douby.
And I think he just stepped up overall because this guy's been through a lot with his lack of shooting over the last week or two, playing hard, going towards the basket, and here is your game winner.
So a call at the close of overtime decides the game, and Quincy Douby is the man on the payoff end. I tell you, that was he had a terrific game, and so did a lot of these Pirates. They both they battled. I mean, right from the start, Rutgers had the early 12-point lead, and then Seton Hall got its game going and shot 50% for the first half. That closed to within 4 at halftime. 10 lead changes and 3 ties in the final 14 minutes of regulation. This man has seen every Rutgers game since the ball was stuffed.
And here's Copeland again. See, the only thing there with the call, the only thing I could see is that he may have grazed him hip high, but you got to let that one play on, I think.
Brian Lang, 3.
No question that there was time on the clock, though. That was the easy decision to make, that there was time, and Gary Waters will take this win, shake hands, and get into the locker room.
The knockout punch comes from all places, the free throw line. Final score, Rutgers 62, Seton Hall 61. The Scarlet Knights go to 8-12 overall and 2-8 in conference play. And Seton Hall is now 10-10 and 2-7. This has been a presentation of ESPN.